Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show in our 25th year. I'm Harvey Freed. He's Harry Glantz.
Good morning, Harvey. Good morning, everybody out there. Listen, spring has sprung. We're ready to roll. Hopefully the snow's done, but you know where we live, Harvey. You can't count on winter being over.
Been at opening day down at Comerica when they first opened. It was like an inch of snow and some slush out there. So definitely, Harry, spring is in the air. We got some baseball to talk about. The NCAA tournament, of course. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket all day long.
Weekend of sports here, Harvey. And the NCAA, listen, Michigan State didn't disappoint. Last night stayed up. Had to watch Michigan State take care of business.
Fantastic. What'd you hang with 12:30? What time that game end?
I don't know. It was closer to 1, I think.
Okay. We brought in Evan Partridge this morning. Hey, Evan, good morning.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Ev, I think I had you on back, 4 or 5 years ago or so?
6 years ago.
Oh, that like you knew.
Wow.
You
It's been a while.
remember.
I looked last night.
Evan Partridge with Berkshire Hathaway, Key Realty, out of the Birmingham office. Of course, you've been in Southeast Michigan for several years. I know that you and Mark have worked at several offices. It's part of the Warren Partridge team. So lots of experience with Mark being your partner and all that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a good ride.
So we certainly know things have changed in the last 6 years. Listen, 2019 to right now, dramatic changes. We had COVID, property values have gone up, doubled, tripled in a lot of cases. We'll take a look at that. And now we've been faced with the last 3.5 years, a housing shortage, Harvey. Evan, Not a lot of homes on the market. That's the mantra. It's been the mantra for the last 3 years.
Yeah, I feel very used to it.
Yeah, we're used to it because rates have now stabilized, and in some cases, they've leveled off. And the Fed came out this week and really said, there's no need to go ahead and lower rates. So people have settled in. We talked about it pre-show. People have settled in. But what you have in your top right-hand drawer of your desk at your office, you have a lot of buyers. But you don't have a lot of properties to put them in. So what are we doing about that?
Well, I mean, you've got to make sure, first of all, when you meet with buyers, new buyers, or even throughout the process, you're consulting them about the market, what to expect. I mean, let's be honest, most buyers you're writing a few offers with. They're not able to secure the first property that they put an offer in on. And that's because there's so many other people out there. They've lost out on a few homes, throughout the process as well. So we got to make sure that, when we do put those offers in, they're done the right way with as many little tips and tricks as we can to hopefully secure that property for them.
Yeah, that is what's going on out there. You're working with buyers and you've had to show them dozens of homes.
Way more than we used to. It feels.
And then there are a plethora of offers that are on there, and then you go through the inspection phase, and there's all that process. Just because somebody has entered into a contract, there's a process after you enter into it with an inspection, with all the things, doing your due diligence on it. We talk about things. And you want to get as much information on that property as possible before you go ahead and say, okay, we're good to go.
Absolutely.
And you're finding we talk about inspections a lot, but, there's serious matters in inspection, and then there's everyday wear and tear.
Of course.
Every inspection isn't perfect. I don't care, even if it's a new build, Harvey. You talk about that all the time. Harvey, you built 2 or 3 houses in your career, and you know what goes into that. So, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, even on a new construction home, people are running inspectors by there. You'll see the YouTube videos on it, too, where they'll go in and they'll check the trusses to see if everything's done properly. And any home out there is definitely going to have deficiencies on it.
Of course.
And let's talk about, actually, Harry, it's a great segue because we went out to an older home last Saturday. Thank you for inviting me out to that open house.
Sure.
And you're going to have that house open again tomorrow. I thought, first on paper, the house is dynamic. It's great. And then we go there, and it is.
Yeah, it's a great property. Like Harry said, every house has got its issues, even new construction. Punchless items, that type of thing. But we do our best to try to have the property in the best condition it can be when it hits the market.
Yeah, that one had a generator on and a whole bunch of other things.
It's roof, windows, kitchen, all done. There's you noticed something. We were sitting there, which I hadn't seen. It was, as silly as it sounds, it's a return air return.
Right.
That was kind of coming off the wall a little bit, needed to be screwed back in and that type of thing. A little bit of paint maybe. So we're going to make sure we get that taken care of.
You know what's crazy to think about? If a house was built in the 1960s or 1970s, right now it's a 50, 60-year home.
Yeah.
So if you grew up in the 1980s and 1990s, that means the equivalent a house would have been built in the 1920s and 1930s.
Which was an older home, yeah.
And so just think about that when you keep things in perspective, because it doesn't seem that long ago that houses built in the 60s and 70s were, we can't consider them old, but they are. And every home that is 60, 70 years old, 50, 60 years old, they're going to have some problems. So when I say that, I don't think is it a tale of caution? Yeah, it's a tale of caution, but you have to go in, and that's why you hire an inspector, right?
You hire a home inspector and get the proper information as much as you can. You can always gather information from the city, too, and that's one of the things we always point our clients to is not only can your agent dig up some information, you can get down with the city. If you know an open house is coming up, a house that you might be viewing over the weekend,
absolutely,
you can get down to the city and see what permits were pulled on it, any of the information.
Do as much due diligence as you can. That's your time to do it. If you get through that inspection period, that part of the whole thing is over.
There's so much information you can find out on a property through public records.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even go and find out who lived in that house for how many years they've lived in the house. All right, I'm not giving away any secrets here. It's all public information.
Exactly.
But if you want to do your homework on it, you can find things out. Plus, you have a good realtor. The realtor knows the history on the house.
Yeah.
Probably. And, if you looked in a certain neighborhood for a lot of years, and you've driven that neighborhood, you've driven by the house a million times, and you know what you're getting into. But
I've got a buyer right now that's interested in a property that has been sold multiple times over the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
probably 8 times.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out why, and it's that is a little bit difficult because you're only dealing with the seller who's been there a couple of years. So they may or may not know something, but I can't really trust what they're going to tell me anyway, because who knows? So that's going to be a little interesting this week, trying to figure out, why, if we can figure out any of that.
Well, listen, a lot of people flip homes, right? A lot of people take a look. They have an eye for it. They can take it, they buy it, they add to it, and then they flip it, and they make a little bit of money on it, which is all well and good. But again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they and their intentions are. It just matters if the house, A, fits your lifestyle, and B, it's in good shape. Yeah. Right? It's in good shape. If you have to do minimal amount of work to it, so what?
The houses I think people can get the best deals on are the ones that maybe don't have all the updates that everybody's looking for. It's not like the showstopper when you walk in, but it's been beautifully maintained throughout the life of that home by, one or many owners. Then you have a clean slate to start and do what you want to do with the house once you get in there.
Circle back to that open house that we did on that house. Now, that house, again, had something going on with you guys. Had a cash offer. You had a mortgage going on. You ended up moving forward with a buyer. Then they discovered something. They weren't happy with it. Now it's back on the market. It seems to me like there's a short window here where someone can make an offer. And I mean, you guys want to get highest and best, of course. Yeah. But again, older folks are living there. They're looking to move on to their next step in life.
They want to make sure that their house is wrapped up and they've got a firm deal that's going to get to a closing table with as least hassle as possible.
I tell people there's a short window. I still feel like that short window of opportunity, like even that house, if someone came a little bit under asking, you guys might have to make that decision. That's a tough decision for real estate agents. And let's talk about the value that you guys bring, whether it be on the list side or when you're working with new buyers, because again, with everything that's going on in real estate, you guys provide this tremendous value to buyers and or sellers.
I mean, that's what we're here for. That's our job. So, back to sellers, if they get an offer like that, and first of all, we don't make any decisions. The sellers are the decision makers. We're here to consult and advise. So if they get an offer like that might be a little bit lower than they're really looking for or something, depending on what else is going on. If we've got other buyers who have been there maybe twice or something, and they're talking about writing an offer, we may hold for a minute.
Okay.
We may go back and counter. We may decide to take the deal, and if everything looks good, they're moving on, they're happy. And that's really the way it should be.
Well, if it's a win-win for both sides, that's what you're looking for. But
that's exactly what you're looking for.
My feeling is that we are in a challenging real estate market with a lack of inventory, with all the multiple offers, with all the challenges you're going to have. You need a seasoned professional to navigate you through these waters. And we say it all the time. This is a challenging time. If you're looking to buy a new home, you need somebody there that is going to work with you and really kind of look out for your best interests as you're going down that road.
Yeah.
Unless you do something for a living, you need help in navigating those waters. And I believe that.
Of
And,
course.
some people say, hey, Harry, but I could sell my house. The market's hot. I could sell my house on my own. Yeah, you can sell your house on your own. But chances are 95 times out of 100, okay, you're going to get more money if you list it with a professional than you do it on your own.
Not a doubt in my mind.
I couldn't be more convinced of that. Now, there are times when the market's different. Now is not one of those times.
Well,
We're in more challenging times.
It's also not all about price all the time. There's other things involved with maybe you need some time to stay there after closing.
That's the big one right now.
Navigating through inspection issues, or, a lot of times if you're a seller and you've got a buyer who did an inspection and they found a problem, whatever that is, say there's a problem in the basement or mold in the attic or something. Usually they're going to come back at you with a high figure, trying to negotiate and get a better deal for themselves. But that figure may not always be accurate. There could be other people to get numbers from.
And chances are somebody that could take care of that and get a real accurate quote.
I try to have a stable of people that,
Sure.
we can hand out to people. If
the quote of $10,000 for a repair might only be a $2,000 repair. All right.
See it all the time.
And how would you know unless you're dealing with it on a regular basis? So if you don't know the ins and outs of the market, how could you go ahead and really make that decision? So if you're looking to be nickel wise and dollar foolish, well, then, they say an attorney or a person that represents himself in court instead of hiring an attorney has a fool for a client. I feel the same way if you're trying to go ahead and sell a house on your own.
All right, folks, we're up against our first break here. Tons of information to share with you. We're going to talk about saving for that down payment. A couple tricks out there. 248-539-9797. Keep it here. All righty, welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Show. We take your calls, 248-539-9797. We are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, of course, powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS 1820, Equal Housing Lender. And again, we want to hear from you. Evan Partridge joins us from Berkshire Hathaway, the Key Realty Group. And Evan, lots of years of experience. You and your partner, of course, Mark's been around forever, but lots of experience. I had some fun with you on Saturday. Maybe I'll get a chance to do it again. You're going to do that open house again. So tons of information to share out there. One of the things we talk about is the fatigue out there of the buyers. And you brought it up, even like some of the people out there just don't have their ducks in a row.
Yeah.
When that house comes up on the market, again, if you're talking with your fiance, your girlfriend, your wife, and this is the move you want to make, let's get that lender involved. Whoever you choose to use as a lender, or at least get one lender involved, and make sure you do everything that's required is sending in your documents, doing the full application, and putting yourself in a position of success, because we are finding out people are moving forward here, and the number one thing they don't have is the funds to close. And it's been hard for families because of rent with so much money, hard to save the money.
But what is true is that emotionally, when you enter into the home buying arena and you make these offers, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it. And then you're emotionally wrapped up in it. This is something you might do 2-3 times in your life.
Tough process.
And it is a tough process because you really want the house. You like the house. You've seen it. You've gone in it. You're online. You're looking at it, and you're obsessing over it. And you've got an offer in, and you don't think that there's 3, 4, 5, 6 other offers in on it, and that you might not get it because you think every offer that is written is going to get accepted.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, when you're out there day to day in it, you've got to understand, and this is where a great agent comes in. They'll set you on the path for proper expectations. And I know you do that.
Yes.
And people, but they're wrapped up in it. I get it. It's an emotional experience. And how do you walk people through that, Evan?
Well, the first thing is a good buyer consultation to start. You know, if people just want to, if they call you up and you've never met them before and they say, oh, can you show me a few houses? Rarely will I just meet somebody at a house for the first time. It's got to be done professionally, where you sit down, you meet face to face. We go over not only, the pre-approval process with a lender, but just how the whole process works, from writing an offer through the inspection, appraisals, securing the loan to the closing, all that type of stuff. So they have to know exactly what this whole process looks like. Then we got to talk about just today's market and setting them up for realistic expectations.
Yeah, it is hard. There are certain price points right now that are very, very difficult to meet. I mean, if you're looking at 200, 300, 350 and under, it's difficult in that market. I mean, it really is.
It's amazing. I mean, to think that it's hard to find a house between $3,000 and $4,000, it's amazing.
And you think about that when you hear that come out of somebody's mouth, and you're saying, God, that's a lot of money.
It is.
It's a lot of money in the real world, but there's really things out there that you can't control, and the market is the market.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a buyer that I've been working with for honestly over a year, and right now they're going through. I'm actually going to meet with them on Sunday. They're thinking about re-upping their lease, and we're going to talk about what they could do there. Maybe they up it for 6 months if possible. If they go month to month, how that looks. They really want to buy a place, but there's just so little in the area that they're looking for. It's, we've written offers. We haven't gotten the house.
Becky Elley is going to be joining us, gentlemen, here just in a little bit. I know. Hey, Becky, are you there?
Yes, I got disconnected the first time.
Good morning.
That's okay. Downriver's finest, Becky Elley. Thanks for joining us. Becky, I was just starting to talk in this segment about down payment, funds to close, and it's been a little bit of fatigue for buyers out there. So we came up with a couple things, and Becky, you know a lot more. Ways to save money, and there's just a few things that were listed on there, and one of them is reviewing your unnecessary expenses, including subscriptions and your cable TV and all those type of things. But cooking at home also saves a lot of money. Becky, one thing we've recognized that these poor buyers out there, they're getting crushed by rent, and that really has taken away all their down payment money.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and we talk about it often. It's not if you're going to buy, it's when you're going to buy. And most importantly right now for these buyers, even if you have a house to sell, it's how are we going to buy? That's really the biggest thing. Whether, you're a seasoned buyer or a rookie buyer, you have to have a clear game plan, because there's also a lot of people that are holding on to this inventory that don't want to let go of that house until they know they have something lined up. So it's also adding to this multi-layered buyer fatigue from many facets. But specifically for our first-time buyers, there is no mandate on the max rent that your landlord can charge you. If their taxes go up, they're going to hit you with that rent increase. So it's really important that you start analyzing your budget. I look at my numbers every week and every month. I look at what I got coming in, what I have going out, and I own a house, and I've owned a house for a very long time, since I was 24 years old. So anyone that is thinking about getting to that point, you have to start with that budget. That's an excellent point, because if you don't know what your money is coming in versus what's going out, you're always going to be kind of chasing your tail a little bit. And we really take a lot of pride on giving you that option and that platform to be very strategic when you're buying a house, because it doesn't have to be scary, and it doesn't have to be this mystical creature that always evades you and your family.
Yeah, you need a great team behind you, because that fatigue can set in real quickly after making multiple offers.
Absolutely.
You're not getting accepted. You need to step back a little bit. Sometimes you need to save a little bit more. Evan, one of the things we've seen is, of course, on these nicer homes, the multiple offers just start coming in.
Right.
So you need to position yourself with really that great mortgage lender, I think, because I know it's so important, because sometimes they have to come to you and say, look, you're going to need some extra money here. Can you reach out to a family relative? It could be
Absolutely.
an aunt, an uncle. Can you get that extra $10,000 in case we need to overbid a little bit on this house, or give that appraisal guarantee? That's really comes to play with a lot of these first-time home buyers.
I'll give you an example. Actually, yesterday, I got a phone call from a previous client, real good guy, looking to buy his second house, and got all excited about this house, but hadn't put in the steps to figure out what it's going to look like to purchase this. And one of the first things I said to him before I even showed the house was, say we go there and you really, really like this place. What's the plan? He said, well, we're going to talk about it. Yeah. So we ended up seeing it, really liked it, wanted to make an offer. We're scrambling all night last night to try to figure out how we can do it, if we can do it. Ultimately decided we're putting the cart before the horse. I'm going to meet with him next week. We're going to talk to him about his current property, give him an analysis on that, what he could look to get out of that house to help him get into the next house, with still maybe parents' help, that type of thing. But we're going to make sure the process is started correctly to end correctly.
A lot of times it's important to have your current house even sold.
Yes.
I think the number one reason why is because, again, you can get bridge loans and such, but you want to know what you're going to net from that sale, because that allows you to maybe overbid on the next one, because you're trying to move up.
You have the money in your hand, or at least it's coming. The closing's coming. You have more information, and you can never have more information throughout this process.
I'm okay with the reverse contingency here. I want to hear from you too. That I'm okay with the reverse contingency, having your house sold. And again, those people buying it, maybe they have a house to sell. Maybe they're renting and they need another 2 months before their lease is up. But putting that all together with smart agents and having those quality people in the transaction, that's why it's so important.
Absolutely.
It's not unusual. Hey, Beck,
Sorry.
it's not unusual. I just want to bring this point up. It's not unusual that if you go ahead and you sell your house first, which is most people need to sell a house before they enter into a new transaction. If you sell your house first, depending on your situation, why not sell the house and then move into an apartment for 3-6 months while you're looking for a new house? Now, a lot of people oftentimes, Becky, they'll say, well, I don't want to move twice. Yeah. All right. But here's the thing. It's easier to move when you have the money in your pocket and then go look for that house, because then you're not under any pressure and you can take your time. So if you have to spend 6 months in an apartment, why not do that? Plenty of people I know are doing it and have done that. Now you're going to say to me, Harry, but that's crazy. I don't want to move twice. Sell the house first and then go look for it. What are your thoughts on that, Beck?
I think that it depends on what you got going on, really. For example, my cousin was building a house. They sold their house. They moved into an apartment while the construction was being completed, because it was a moment for them to strike to get the money that they needed for the multiple increments of down payment installments the builder was going to, require of them. They didn't want to deplete their 401k. They got a decent amount from their sale of their home, and that made sense for them. Sometimes it sounds chaotic, but it also takes a lot of that pressure off that we're talking about, where it's like, where am I going to go? And I was going to chime in. I literally got a text message sitting here. Hey, it's the wonderful springtime, buyer's market, are you doing pre-approval today? And the answer to that question is yes. We are professionals. This is what we do. We are always willing to take the phone calls and do the pre-approvals. And this particular person has a house to sell. And guess what? Just like you just said, they put the cart before the horse, fell in love with the house. And now we got to kind of work a little bit quickly to see what we can do. And to Harvey's point, we do offer bridge loans and things like that. So there's a million different ways we can get you where you're going, but you have to have your eyes open and looking down the road, because then it's going to be it's going to be an unpleasant process if it feels chaotic. So the point is that we want to get you to a point where you're responding to this market, not reacting to the best of our abilities.
All right. Hey, Becky, first-time homebuyers, they shrunk last year to a historic low, 24%. Prior to 2008, 40% of the buyers were first-time homebuyers. We come back, we'll tell you how to get that house and a whole lot more. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can call us at Capital all weekend long, all week long. 1-800-LOW-RATE, your best mortgage banker. That's easy, 1-800-569-7283. Take your calls here live in the studio, 248-539-9797. Becky Ellie's on the phone with us, one of the top 1% of all originators. I'm Harvey Freed. He's Harry Glanz on the mortgage side. Evan Partridge joins us this morning, Berkshire Hathaway, Key Realty, out of the Birmingham office. I'll throw it out there, Ev. I know you guys are opening a new office soon.
We are.
Congratulations
I can't really go into
on
details
that. That's okay.
there, but it's exciting.
Good. There's a lot more going on. Again, you guys are spreading your wings a little bit towards the west side of maybe Oakland County coming up. That's the only hint I'll
back
give.
home for me.
Okay, well, fantastic. It'll be right in your backyard. But, hiring the professional real estate agents out there, folks, if you're listening in on the show, if you're a new listener, I like the experienced people. I'm not to say that if you're first, second, third year in the industry, you're not capable. You're very capable, especially if you have the support and the team together and information that you can help provide to your buyers. But, Harry, not everyone has that.
Yeah, but we had Amy Cairns on last week with
there.
Lisa, and she was in the business 2-3 years, and she's very strong, does her homework, is really intelligent, and is really educating her buyers out there. So yeah, experience is the best teacher, but also you can have all the experience in the world, but if you're not working hard at your craft, I don't care
Correct.
what industry you're in.
Right.
You've got to work hard.
You can take all the classes in the world, but you have to actually go out there and practice it and perfect it as best you can.
Oh, for sure. As we were talking about before the break, too, some first-time home buyers out there. Last year was a little bit on the low side. 24% of the buyers were first-time home owners when it was up to 40% prior to 2008. And we talked about the hurdles this morning. But, Becky, one of the hurdles is the down payment. Of course, so many more down payment assistance programs. You and I, Beck, we didn't buy that long ago, our first homes, but we didn't really know about it as much. My first, second year, I bought the house. Then I really learned about MSHDA and some of the other DPAs, the down payment assistance programs.
Yeah, so MSHDA's been around for a really long time, but to that point, Harvey, you're right. Right now, there are more down payment assistance programs in the history ever. We talk about that often, but they're also advertised a lot more. But it's also because we have this platform and we want to make sure that people are able to take advantage of this life-changing money that would otherwise, make it where they can't buy a house. And the truth of the matter is all these down payment assistance programs exist because they want people in Michigan to occupy their own home. They don't want them to be renters. And if you can step into the $10,000 that's offered to the state of Michigan, as long as you meet the income requirements, why would you not? And let's just say you make good money and maybe you are exceeding the income limits. We also have other programs that we can put you in that would get you up to a 5% down payment assistance. You don't have to be a first-time buyer, and you don't have to, and there is no income limits on that. So it really is coming with a very strategic game plan.
Hey, Becky, so here, role play with me, okay? I'm a buyer. I'm living in an apartment right now. I'm paying $1,200 a month in rent, and I only have $2,000 right now in the bank, but I want to buy a house. My credit is pretty good. Let's say I have a 675 credit score, and I want 680 maybe. And let's just say I'm not perfect, but I'm better than average. And I have $2,000 to put down, and I want to get out of this $1,200 a month rent. Is there a program out there? I mean, is there some kind of down payment assistance for me?
Yes, Harry, new buyer, there absolutely is. It depends on what you're making per month or per year. It also depends on where you're looking to purchase and how many people are going to be occupying the home. Those answers will determine whether we're going to go through the state of Michigan or we're going to put you in one of these other ancillary programs that we have. So that's where it's key. So just one little caveat with the state of Michigan program is every person in the household 18 and up has to income qualify. So that's why we talk about these income limits. So if you're going to buy a house, let's just say in Woodhaven, that's not a targeted area in the downriver area, for example, and you make over $96,000 total combined income between, an 18-year-old that's not going to school and all these things, then that program would not work for you, and we would have to find a secondary program that would get you where you need to go.
But it's worth a phone call to you, Becky. It's worth a phone call that I might not have limited funds to work with. My credit's pretty decent. I do okay, but I got to get out of this $1,200 a month rent. You got to help me out, but I got to make a phone call first, don't I?
It always starts with a conversation because the biggest first-time buyer mistakes are you think you need 20% down and you don't. You're not keeping enough money in the bank because you think the boogie bank man's going to take it. And the biggest first-time buyer mistake is they don't even try because they already feel defeated or they think there might be something on their credit. They think they're going to be judged. And we're not here to judge you. We're here to help you.
Yeah, the purpose of this exercise, we got to let people know the purpose of the exercise and going through this is that you don't know what you don't know, and you got to make that phone call. You got to contact somebody that has all the information regarding how we can get you down payment money. You have to have a little, but we can bring a lot to the table, Beck.
For sure. And that's what makes someone an educated person. It doesn't matter what your diploma is. I feel someone that is an educated person, they know what they know and they know what they don't know, but they also know where to go for the things that they don't know. I don't know how to put a roof on. I'm going to go to the people that know how to put a roof on. I'm not a Bob the Builder. That's not my expertise, and I don't know how to drive in that lane. And that's what makes you a high-level educated person, is when you are willing to seek out the professionals that can get you the answers that you need to the answers that you don't have.
Hey, Becky, always great stuff. Stick on the line with us all the way through here. If you're just turning in, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We take your calls if you want to give us a phone call here at the office. Either way, 248-539-9797, live in the studio every Saturday morning. And Evan, of course, Partridge joins us, top real estate agent in the area. One of the things is, we're talking this morning a little bit about the buyer fatigue and the down payment and such, and really getting prepared. But definitely something that's really helped buyers is, I got some numbers here. The inventory is really up. It was up 27.5% year over year from last year's number in February. Still down 22% from 2017-19 before the pandemic. That's because once those rates went down in 2021 and 22, everyone bought a house. And congratulations to those folks. I mean, we were here pumping it on the line going, look, these are the all-time lows. This is probably never going to happen again. I mean, it took a big crisis, a pandemic, folks. Yeah, it almost wiped out who knows what it could have wiped out. But it took something real significant to get those interest rates that low. Probably not going to see rates that low, but we think everyone has settled down. You and I talked about it too, Evan. These are the norms. This is what the market is. It is what it is.
Yeah, this is a new normal. If you've got to make a move or really want to make a move, it can be done. You just got to figure out the right way. Down the road, maybe you can refi, get a little bit better rate. But there's deals to be found out there.
Yeah, there's definitely more choices out there. This is the number of homes for sale now has never been more in the previous 71 consecutive weeks. So believe it or not, we had a streak there where the inventory was really low.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to see it open up a little bit. So that's a little shout out to the sellers out there. Let's go there. If you're selling your house, how important it is to get that real estate agent into your home and start that whole conversation. You always think about, where's that value start? Once you walk into the door, and then you can start sharing what's going on in that property.
Absolutely. Just like Harry said, you gotta consult with a professional, whether you're buyer or seller, and make that phone call. Have somebody, even if you're not ready. So everybody, it's never the right time, right? But have somebody come in. We'll go over. We'll lay out. Look through the house, give you an analysis on it, tell you if you got to do a couple things, or we suggest doing a few things to try to stage it correctly. Get all that information up front, even if they may say, well, I'm not quite ready now, but in a couple months, they've already done all that legwork. They're working on getting the house ready. So when it hits the market, the pictures look great, and we can get it done in a quick period of time.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of that. There's so much knowledge that you can gain in the market just by observing and taking a look at what's going on around you, being a little bit of having a little bit of awareness. And then you don't have to spend a lot of money, Evan, to go ahead and put your house in proper shape to go ahead and get sold. Right. Clean up, fix up, paint up time. You've heard that? Remember that? Clean up, fix up, paint up time. You got to do a little bit of that. Right, Becky? You got to do a little bit of that, don't you?
Yeah. No, yes. And I think and right now it's like that in between, like where it's like winter just stopped, and then it's like, and everything is in blooms. I look at even the front of my house, I'm like, you are ugly because the things aren't alive just yet, right? So it's that in between season right now, and it would behoove me, even my own self, to get out here and do some stuff, post the apocalyptic winter that we had here. So curb appeal is everything, and good pictures sell a house as well. I mean, the iPhone pictures are great. But when you're working with a professional like Evan in the studio, you're going to get that high end, all eyes on me when your property is being listed. And that is what you want, and why we bring these high level professional agents in the studio with us, because it's really important for people to be with high level individuals that do this for a living.
Evan, what a small amount of money it would be, even like for any house. Again, it's just starting to open up. Becky just said the snow melted just recently.
Yeah, now's a tough time.
The fertilizer company came out to my house this week. They were already out there on Wednesday.
Mine was out yesterday.
Great. So you can go buy that if you haven't hired a company to come out and do your lawn again, keeps the weeds out and everything. Yeah. You get that fertilizer down now and just think about getting your house on the market. Your green grass will be coming in.
In the next few weeks, we're going to have buds on trees. I mean,
it's really coming. It's going to come really fast. And also, I know you can start buying some plants. I mean, there are some fake flowers and stuff you can buy, but fresh mulch and cleaning up that front yard.
It does a huge difference. Little power washing here and there.
Get it out.
You know, the siding can look a whole lot better with even just a garden hose sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and just really, pictures are extremely important, like Becky said. That's the first kind of line where people see the house online. You know, so if those pictures aren't looking good, you got to get them into the house.
Listen, let's face it, we're a very visual animal.
Absolutely.
The first thing people see, the first thing people see is the first thing they remember.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. So it's all in the presentation. I mean,
make it or break it.
Yeah, there's no question.
All right, many of you buyers out there, you guys qualify for these down payment assistance programs. Just got to make a phone call. Call us at Capital, 1-800-LOW-RATE. We'll tell you what you qualify for. There's more than 2,000 of these programs across the country. So find out which program will fit you. Again, keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, 846 here on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, we take your calls, 248-539-9797. Keep it here. Mark, Ryan, Pat Caputo will join you right at 10 o'clock up till 1 o'clock. Detroit Tiger Baseball. I am really getting pumped up here. Of course, this time of year is fun for anyone who lives in Michigan. Saying goodbye to those winter blues is always a good start, but getting into baseball season, of course, always gets us going.
Well, an opening day in Detroit's a holiday. We all know that. We do opening day the best in the country. We always have. Becky, I know you'll be down there opening day. I'm certainly going to try to make it. I had a streak one time, everybody. I'm going to bore everybody. 25 years in a row. I went down to opening day. That's a pretty good
long
one.
streak.
Yeah. Loved it. Took my kids down there. It was great. We always had a blast opening day. But here in Detroit, opening day is a celebration. It's a rite of passage. And spring has sprung when you see the old English D on the field in Comerica Park. You know that.
It's exciting.
It's really fun this time of year.
There's things that we do really well, and that is Detroit sports. I mean, but nothing beats a Tiger opening day. I'm with my boy Harry on that one. It is magical, and that's when summer is right around the corner, and to be in it's electric when you're down there. It's so much fun.
It's what we do around here.
Becky, I want to go over a little stickier conversation about homes themselves and things that people, when they get to the house, again, starting to get that knowledge bank really filled up so you become educated. And Ev, you and I were talking in the break just now about, if it's got the solid bones, that this is a house for you. But because you got to figure out where you're going to put your dollars.
Right.
There's no doubt that things can go sour in a house. I mean, everything can be perfect until it's not.
It's part of home ownership, unfortunately, and just part of life. Things go wrong every once in a while.
Yeah, we're always telling you, look at those windows, how important it is to understand those windows.
Windows, mechanicals, structural. You want to make sure that stuff all looks good, at least while you're walking through with a client. The inspector's going to do the dirty work. But, we can give them at least a pretty good idea of, I think this house looks pretty good.
Yeah, you can also tell that the built-in appliances. I mean, obviously, if the kitchen's all brand new, you got the appliances there. Appliances could be working. You're looking at the age of the furnace and really going over all those details. A lot of times, someone will get into a house and they are a little concerned about that. But home warranties sort of fill in that void.
They can.
And again, just sort of give you that peace of mind when you're thinking about maybe buying a house that is a little bit older appliances and
such.
Yeah,
they give you peace of mind. I mean, it's an insurance policy. Anybody can pay for it. That's one thing that I don't write a lot of offers now with asking a seller to pay for it because of the climate of the market, and you don't want somebody to have an objection to your offer, right? But I mean, they're a very good thing to have for peace of mind. They can pay for some things. You at least pay towards something. If it's an older, say the air conditioner was 30 years old that went out, they'll give you $1,000 towards it or something.
All right. Covers your $7,500 brand new furnace and AC unit. Yeah. Again, home inspections, attics are going to be inspected, checking for pest inspections, leaks, crawls are very important to get someone down there in the crawl space, water intrusion. And then as a seller, you can do also lots of great things. Your agent suggest these things to you as you walk through the house. Yeah.
A lot of times, if we see some things with the home that look a little suspect or something, we'll advise them to have an inspector come through the house before they list it. And so at least they'll know, okay, I can fix a few things if I need to. If they don't have the money to do that or something, at least they'll know what's coming when a buyer does an inspection.
It's so important that they know up front. And if you're spending a lot, if you're going to go ahead and you're going to list a house and you've got that house in proper shape, why not hire your own inspector to go through? Because the buyer's going to hire an inspector. There could be some pitfalls that you don't know about it. So spend that money, the $350, the $500, whatever it costs, to go ahead and have your own inspector. So what happens is then you have a report, and then when your buyer comes through and they have an inspector and they want to come back at you and say, hey, look, here's the story, what we found. You have your own inspection, and you can compare both.
Yeah.
And that could be in the negotiation right there.
Absolutely.
All right, a lot of folks also looking at new construction out there. Of course, I had built 3 new homes and enjoyed every single one of them. They're definitely a good way to go, and there's lots of opportunity out there. Hey, look, builders haven't maybe changed their prices yet for 2025. And there's some economic uncertainty out there for the builders. The threats of tariffs, elevated construction costs, they're going to push those prices up. So right now might be that opportunity. A lot of builders are listening in this morning. Maybe that opportunity to get out there that new construction. Again, get your approval first. Sure. Don't go to the new construction site if you're working with an agent. Make sure that you tell the agent to make the call and get registered at the new construction site. Try to take your agent to the house and see what, obviously, additional value they're going to bring. It's very important.
I try to go there with with them if I can. If not, I go back on my own. I'll talk to the sales rep there or whatever. New construction is good for some people.
Yeah.
Some people just want the house to be theirs, and they're not using somebody else's home. But I still am always a proponent of resale. I mean, I think resale is you're typically going to get your best bang for your buck.
Well, again, you can buy a new construction home for very little money. Becky, I'm going to let you jump right in here. But, Becky, also know about the additional cost. New construction, now you're going to pay the window treatments. You're putting in money for the hardscape, the landscape. Sure. It can get rather expensive. But, again, a great option for many folks.
Yeah, so two things. So anyone that's listening to it on the radio, if you get out of your car, we are live on Facebook. And so, I have my own dialogue going on even on the Facebook thread. And our boy Al Abdallah, he just had some work done. He plugged his floor guy, his landscaping guy. And what he's talking about is, even just the deep clean, declutter, organizing, grandma's house, right? That goes a long way if you're buying a pre-existing. But again, if you do desire to go to the new construction, there's nothing that we can't do at Capital Mortgage Funding is other than commercial properties, right? So we can facilitate a draw loan and, something that's going to be get you where you got to go on the new construction, whether you bought your own land, you want to build your own, or you're going to one of those big box lender or big box builders that have some prefab, of existing and they're ready to go for you. But you have to factor in those costs because you got the hardscape, like Harvey said. What's the HOA look like? How many arborvitaes do you have to plant, after it's done? The party doesn't end once you close on the property on a new construction or even on an existing property, right? Once you drive that car off the lot, like you said, Evan, that's life. You are now the owner and you have to be prepared for all the additional costs that come along with it. And that's what we're here for, is to make sure that you are living under your means and even at your means if necessary, so that way you can afford those additional costs as they come, because life does happen and we have to prepare for that.
Becky, it wouldn't be a good mortgage real estate show if we didn't talk about debt consolidation. We got a couple minutes left here, but definitely I've sat down with some families. Again, every time I sit down with a family, it seems like if we can consolidate them, get rid of all this debt, they can save over $1,000 a month. And with an opportunity, again, a cash out refinance comes with a little bit higher interest rate than your typical rate and term. But Becky, they can come back after 6 months and then complete the rate and term. So debt consolidation, if we could just touch on it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, people have been refinancing. That's the dirty secret that no one talks about. They over the last 5 years, they will brag about that 3% interest rate, like we talk about, but no one's bragging about the 30% credit card debt that they're, paying at. And they've been foregoing these lower interest rates because that's the best way to alleviate some of that pressure in their pockets. And, you have net equity in your home that you can tap into. We're never going to promote it as a piggy bank, but we're looking for net cash flow. Where's that money going and how can we help you knock out the negative debt, right? Like Harry always talks about necessary debt, unnecessary debt, certain things you have to deal with. And if we can save someone money because their taxes are adjusting now and all these things, and we can help them alleviate some of that revolving credit card debt, a cash out refinance is a viable option. We also can do home equity lines of credit. Those interest rates are even higher than a cash out refinance and don't always make sense. But you don't know what you don't know until you have a phone call with us, and we can really deep dive on what is going to be the best vehicle for you.
A couple minutes left. Evan Partridge, tell us about an up-and-coming listing or up-and-coming homes that are going to hit the market.
Well, I'll tell you about the couple open houses we're doing this.
Go
this
for
weekend.
it. Yes, sir.
One is the one that you were with me last week. It's 25329 Lee Stock in Farmington Hills. That's going to be held open Sunday 1 to 3. Today I've got one. I'm not going to be there. My buddy Marshall Levine's going to be there. 7388 Barrington Court in West Bloomfield. It's a 2-bedroom condo. Real nice in Greenpoint.
Yeah, that's a nice. Oh, the Greenpoint.
14 in Halstead.
Oh, that's a great one. 14 in Halstead. Is it a upstairs unit or ground level?
2-story.
2-story unit, condominium. Just give me an idea. What does that one sell for?
Nice shape. It's we just lowered it, 248, 888, and they're willing to give a $5,000 allowance for decorating.
Oh, I love that. Again, folks, this is for your parents that are getting out of the the McMansion, whatever they had, the colonial, the 3,000 square feet that they don't need anymore.
Affordable place.
Yeah, and it's a great location. 14 in Halstead. Yeah, and I just love that. Ever since some of the highways, and of course we got highways shut down all over Southeast Michigan, but if you're at the right spot, even where I live, I'm 35 minutes to get to Metro Airport.
Absolutely.
So it's sort of amazing how that if you go ahead and decide where you want to live, you can set yourself up. Just make sure that location is right for you.
Absolutely. It's nice to be able to get places quickly, get to the highways quickly, That's one thing, being from Massachusetts when I moved here. It's a big difference around this area. I drive an hour almost daily, and it's no big deal. For me back home, it was like that was a planned event.
2-3 hours all the time. Becky, thanks for joining us. The queen of all mortgages, loan officers out there, Becky Alley, down in the Downriver area today. Becky, we'll see you live here in the studio hopefully next Saturday.
Yep.
All
For
righty.
sure. I will be there. I missed you guys, and what a great show we had today. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
love
Good
you
job,
back.
Beck. Evan Partridge joined us all day today, of course, from Berkshire Hathaway. If you want to reach Evan Partridge or us at Capital Mortgage, just give us a call, Capital. We'll hook you up with all these great agents. 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's the number to remember. If you want to get a strong approval letter, there's no obligation. There's no money taken up front. Deal with the real experts. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE. I'm Harvey Freed. He's Harry Glanz. We'll see you next Saturday.